Hey guys, this is Rakesh from Dev Simplified. We have designed this tutorial, so-called Java Simplified series, as a crash course to learn and practice coding in an efficient way. The thumb rule or agenda of this tutorial is to make people understand and observe the concept of coding right from the scratch. So, before entering into the topic, let me start answering the questions which is going on in your mind. Say for example, do I need to learn Java now? According to Google Trends, for the past 12 months data, we could see for the term Java is still maintaining its curve almost from 100 to 75% popularity range, and it clearly shows still Java is in trend. As well as according to Oracle statement, almost 3 billion devices is currently running on Java. The next question is, can I directly learn Java without knowing any other languages such as C or C++? The answer is yes. You can directly learn Java without knowing any other languages. The next question is, what about job opportunities? Yes, we have lakhs of vacancies. For example, let me take Naukri, whereas you can find large number of job vacancies for Java. Next question is Java difficult to learn? Definitely not. I love to answer this question in a very optimistic way. Java is a language which is constructed with just 50 keywords. And believe me, we won't be using these 7 keywords including reserved words in Java. So, if you know where and how to use these 43 keywords, then you are an expert in core Java. The syllabus of this Java Simplified series got split into 4 parts. The part 1 defines the basic terminologies and syntax of Java, whereas the part 2 explains the OOPS concepts and implementation over code. Part 3 describes the usage of utility classes and its implementation over real time. Part 4 provides us a brief knowledge over Java 8 and its functionalities. We will cover all these topics along with interview questions on the same. Since it is a crash course, instead of wasting our time over Java's histories and versions, let's start with Java and its terminologies. Whenever we ask someone or ourselves with the question, what is Java? The first word comes into our mind is OOPS, platform independent. So, what is this OOPS? Obviously, your mind will be always saying it has object-oriented programming language. Before answering this question, I'm going to remind an incident back in 2012 when I was pursuing my graduation. I had a paper called as Dbms. During my university Viva session, my external asked me a question, what is Dbms? I become very happy and concluded myself like I am going to get 2 out of 10 for sure and answered the question, database management system, very proudly. But after hearing this answer, she got pissed off and asked me to get out right away. Seriously, that incident made me to feel the importance of knowing the definition instead of knowing the abbreviation. So, again, I'm going to ask you a question, what is OOPS? That doesn't mean abbreviation, but it actually means the definition. OOPS is a set of rules or procedure in which any operation performed in your language should be done only by using an object. Is Java purely OOPS? The answer is no. Java is partially OOPS because of data types. We don't need any object to perform arithmetic operations. We can add, subtract, multiply and divide directly. The baseline of OOPS itself is gone. Then how come we are saying still Java is OOPS? Of course, Java is supporting the other OOPS concepts such as encapsulation, inheritance, abstraction and polymorphism. So Java is partially object-oriented language. Hope we had a good understanding on OOPS. Let me back to the topic, what is Java? Java is a high-level programming language which is platform independent in nature. Well, coming towards platform independent, let me take a familiar example as WhatsApp. WhatsApp is available in Android, iOS and Windows. So, even though it is available in all these formats, whereas the common functionality remains same and the language it persists is English. So, we can take this English as platform independent because all the OS are using English as a language. Whereas WhatsApp is platform dependent. Why? Because we cannot able to install a WhatsApp app of Android in iOS or as iOS app in Windows. This type of cross installation is not supported in WhatsApp, so that's why we call WhatsApp as platform dependent. Similarly, let's take example as JDK, which can be installed in Linux, iOS and Windows. Whereas the common language is Java, so basically we can say Java as platform independent and JDK as platform dependent. When we refer Oracle site for installation of JDK, we can find .rpm file format for Linux and .dmg file format for Mac OS and .exe for Windows. Architecture of Java consists of 3 stages. Number 1, coding. Number 2, compilation. Number 3, execution. So coming towards coding part, the process of writing a Java program in a file is what we call as coding. The file must be saved with extension .java, and the Java program can be written on a notepad or editors or any IDEs such as Eclipse or NetBeans. Coding process is similar to writing an examination. Now, coming to the compilation part, the process of verifying whether the program is following the syntax properly or not is what we call as compilation. In order to perform compilation, we require a compiler command called as javac space filename.java. The meaning of this command is nothing but Java compiler filename.java. If the syntax is correct, then the compiler converts the Java code into bytecode and stores the bytecode in the .class file. If the syntax is not followed properly, then the compiler generates an error called as compile time error. This compilation process is very similar to evaluation process of an examination. A staff or a faculty will correct the paper and evaluates a mark according to it. As like that, the compiler will evaluate the syntax whether it is right or wrong. If it is right, it generates a bytecode, and if it is wrong, it generates compile time error. Now, coming to the execution part, the process of running the .class file is what we call as execution. In order to execute, we need a command called as java space class name. In order to execute a Java program, we require JVM to check whether the main method is present in the class or not. If the main method is present, then execution works fine. Else, the JVM generates an error called as Java runtime error. During execution, the JVM converts the bytecode which is present in the .class file into machine code, which is readable by the operating system and generates output in the console. And this process is very similar to a result publishing process. In this video, we have came across certain terms such as JDK, JVM, so let's elaborate it in a high level manner. So let's start with JDK. The abbreviation of JDK is Java Development Kit. The Java Development Kit, which contains complete utility to develop a Java application. For example, compiling up a program and running a program, etc. When we comes towards JRE, JRE contains minimal software component to execute a Java program. See, even though JRE is a part of JDK, it cannot compile a Java code into bytecode. Only execution is possible. We can simply say JRE is equal to JVM plus libraries, Java libraries. And when it comes for JVM, JVM is a component which is responsible for converting the bytecode into machine code. And that helps the OS to read the machine code and shows the output in the console. Say, I'm having a Windows computer. In that, I'm writing up a program and compiling it into a bytecode. And that bytecode will be saved inside the .class file. If I take that .class file and put it into a system of Linux, still the JVM will understand the bytecode and gives the output in the console. Not only with respect to Linux, even it is a Mac or Solaris, whatever operating system it might be, but still the JVM of all the operating systems will understand the bytecode. That's why we call the bytecode as a magical code and we say Java as a platform independent. Let's have a high level recap on architecture flow of Java. The first stage of architecture is coding, as you all know. So in that stage, we'll be writing up a program in a file and we'll be saving it in a .java extension. So once it is done, the file will be goes for compilation process in order to check whether the syntax is followed properly or not. If followed, the Java compiler will convert the Java code into bytecode and saves the bytecode inside the .class file. This .class file is going to be input for JVM. The JVM takes the .class file as an input and checks whether the .class file contains a main method or not. If the main method is present, then the JVM converts the bytecode into machine code and provides a machine code to the operating system. So that operating system will take care of the machine code and publish the results in the console. So this process is very similar to a examination process of an university. Say for example, a student comes into examination hall and he writes the examination in the paper and submits the paper for assessment. So once the paper is submitted, the faculty corrects the paper and sees whether the answer is right or wrong. Once the evaluation is done, the results will get published in the site. The next topic what we're going to see is class. Whenever we come up with the name class, we always think about classroom. Obviously, the classroom is not just a room. It consists of whiteboard, projector, bench, chair, marker, duster, light, fan, etc. All this combined into a single entity is what we mean as classroom. When it comes to Java, class is just a keyword which consists of a collection of variables, method, blocks, constructors, objects. So we will be seeing all these things briefly in upcoming classes. So as of now, let me move on to the syntax of a class. So when it comes to syntax, we always used to define a class with the keyword class and then proceeding with class name. So this line is what we call as class declaration. We are declaring a class. The literal meaning of this is nothing but creating a class. So the following parenthesis to end parenthesis is what we call as class definition. This area defines a class, how it is supposed to behave, how many methods it should have. This is how a class is being structured. And one more term we have seen today is main method. What is this main method? Actually, every race will have a starting point because that's where people start to run, right? So as like that, even our Java program is having a starting point that is nothing but main method. That's where our execution will start. So whatever methods need to be called when a program executed, you need to place those methods in the main method so that you can maintain an order in the program. And the next thing is, there are several combinations over having a main method. Say I can declare a main method by using public static void main string array args. So I can either I can flip it like static public void main strings array args. I can declare in that way as well. And again, I can remove the spaces between string and arrays, and I can leave the space with args. Again, I can leave the space between string and array args. So this is how you can use a main method with respect to your own. And even you don't need to use the args. Actually, you can place your names or whatever. It's just a naming identifier. You can keep on changing it with your name as well. So these are all the possibilities of main method in a single frame. In this video, we have covered first topic, that is Java and its terminologies. So it has been striken. So today's keyword learning process, we have completed one keyword, that is class. So remaining 42 to go.